I am absolutely moved by the outpouring of support, comments, reaction that I received from the presentations that we're doing on the Calibishie Chronicle. It appears as if people are interested in the work and are able to relate to the stories. I've had schoolmates call me and say, boy, your memory is impeccable. And that, I think, is one of my gifts. I actually honestly remember very many details of my boyhood, of my childhood, of my life. Some of us have certain innate gifts, and this is one of those that I have. I can speak about things of 30, 40 years ago, 45 years ago, very vividly. I remember my first day of preschool at Teacher Lucy's school in Woodford Hill, and I can relate that sometime. But let's talk about a particular comment that I got from Valley. I mean, it was so nice and moving to see Valley comment beneath one of the posts. And she reminded me that there was a merry-go-round which took place in Calibishie in front of the IAM house every St. Peter's. And that is so true, Valley. I forgot that. Well, I didn't forget, but I didn't mention it in my St. Peter's episode. And it did happen almost every St. Peter. And the younger boys like me were in the box. The box was supported by 4 metal pieces, and the horse had 1 metal piece in the middle, and you bigger girls would ride on the horse, hold on to the metal rail, and we the smaller kids would be in the box. So like 1, 2, 3, 4 of us in a box. I remember that so vividly. We also had that merry-go-round during Christmas time too, not just during St. Peter's, you know. I'm not too sure who were the managers of the merry-go-round, but they used to come to Calibishie, and people from Marigot, Wesley, Woodford Hill, Benz used to converge on Calibishie for that merry-go-round. Lines of people waiting for that. So I remember that. Thank you, Valley. And you also remind me of a story that I was told about your sister, CISSIEE, and your father, Ado, Mr. Blood. When my grandfather would come and he would walk from Jejin's yard, he would say, Mr. Blood. And Mr. Blood would say, Mr. Nibu. So that's how I knew my grandfather was coming. So if I was playing, doing something, I would stop. But he always alerted me. He didn't know he alerted me, but that's how he referred to Mr. Blood, Mr. Nibu. Anyway, so I remember maybe my grandfather, my grandmother, my sister, somebody told me about your father and CISSIEE. And the story is that your father was a baker. He had a bakery, and he decided to make a bread in the same likeness of CISSIEE. Your father had loved CISSIEE. Yeah, he loved you too, Valley. But I get the feeling that Ado had a preference for CISSIEE. And Garçon also felt that way too. So Ado decided to bake a bread, a big bread. And you know when you bake a bread, you put stuff to have the bread rise. So I'm not too sure what size or age CISSIEE was, because I really cannot relate to the story directly. I'm saying that I was told. So anyway, back in the day, the people who had bakeries you know what a bakery looked like. It's a concrete structure, semi-oval, with an opening, a very small hole opening in the middle. And the bread is, people knead the bread, put it in shape, and the bread would be resting on banana leaves, fig leaves. There would be a long sort of wooden spatula type thing. They would rest the bread on that wooden thing and push the bread all the way in until the bakery is filled. They close it up with some wooden gadget, and the bakery does its thing for like 45 minutes or so, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. It depends whether you have cake or bread or mastiff or regular 25 cents or 10 cents bread or whatever. But the operation was an interesting operation. So if your father, Valley, Ado, decided to make CISSIEE into a bread. But little do he know, when he put his daughter in the bakery to bake, she would have risen with the yeast and everything else. So at the end of the operation, when Ado went to take the bread out, CISSIEE got swollen too big, so the bread could not come out from the opening. So Ado had a very brilliant thought. Ado said, well, I am not destroying my CISSIEE. I'm going to break the bakery. And I'm not too sure whether he actually broke the bakery, or he attempted to break it. I'm not too sure how the story end, but I suspect it end on Ado breaking the bakery instead of taking CISSIEE out in pieces, because somebody suggested that he cuts the bread in different pieces. He said, "Not me, I'm not cutting my daughter." And I think Ado elected to break the bakery. Again, that is a story my sister or somebody told me. I'm relating it. So that's a standard disclaimer. Ma connaît si ça c'est vrai. But I was told that story. So go ahead and defend yourself, Ali, you and the family. But I put that story out there about Ado, the bakery, and his daughter CISSIEE. More to come.